Humble Bundle has been a reliable option for gamers to get a nice little addition to their libraries with every bundle, and their monthly bundle is very popular. You pay $12 and you get access to one blockbuster hit and a handful of other games, plus Humble Trove, a bunch of games you get for free while you're subscribed, although you don't get to keep them forever. The value of the bundles is more than customers pay, so the website has grown in traffic and subscriptions a great deal since its inception 9 years ago. It also helps contribute to great causes. The default split of Humble Bundles gives 65% to devs, 20% to charity, and 15% goes back to the Humble Bundle company. You can alter those numbers for yourself, but the majority of sales fall under that distribution. That's been the case for quite a while, and it's the reason that so many people were willing to give $12 for their Humble Monthly when it was introduced. You get some good games, and you get to support a good cause. Last week, Humble announced a change to their monthly pricing though. Introducing Humble Choice. Now, for $20 a month instead of $12, you can get access to 9 games instead of 10. Don't worry, I didn't understand it either, and I'll explain soon. But here's the current breakdown of what customers can expect from the various monthly plans that Humble now offers. For $5 a month, you get access to Humble Trove, and a 10% discount on the Humble store. For $15 a month, you get the same thing, but you get 3 games from Choice, formerly the monthly bundle, and Trove. $20 a month is the premium plan that gets you all of this, but 9 games instead of 3. It's quite obvious that the classic plan is the best deal since it's $12 for 10 games. But let's think about what Humble is trying to do by rebranding themselves as Humble Choice and changing the way their subscription packages work. But first, let's look at how they've arrived at this point. Enjoy! Humble Bundle was the brainchild of Jeff Rosen. Jeff's twin brother, David, was the founder of the indie dev company Wolfire Games, which was started in 2003. Games that are credited to Wolfire include Legaru, Receiver, and Overgrowth. If you haven't heard of any of those, you're not alone. The company doesn't have an impressive resume, nor does it boast any particular game to hang its hat on, except perhaps the notoriety of Overgrowth. During the mid-2000s, Wolfire served mostly as a platform for David's open-source game competitions, but after he finished school, his twin brother Jeff joined him on the team. They began working together in 2008 and stayed busy working on indie titles for the next 2 years. 2010 is the year it all changed though. It was in that year that Jeff ran the first ever Humble Bundle. They saw enough success that it was followed by a second bundle. After that, Jeff and business partner John Graham ditched the Wolfire label and Humble Bundle became an entirely separate entity. The early success of Humble Bundle was due mainly to Jeff Rosen's keen understanding of the game dev industry. He watched the success of bundle sales on Steam, and he was a firm believer that the more games they could bundle together, the more likely people would be to talk about the games and the actual sale itself. I've seen this plenty of times before, so it makes sense. We have people in our Discord who frequently recommend bundle sales that are themed by publisher, genre, or franchise. The more games you can throw together, the more excited people become, and the more likely they are to go tell their friends about it. The true genius of Rosen is seen in the other part of the Humble equation though. He noticed that a game called World of Goo used a pay-what-you-want approach to revitalize their game and to bring new people in. After seeing their success, he set to work on using his connections in the indie game industry to bring together like-minded devs who were looking for a better way to advertise and sell their products to a consumer base who wasn't as aware of independent games as they were of AAA advertisements on their televisions and browsers. After he garnered enough support from developers who were willing to include their games, he and John Graham went to work. The start of Humble Bundle required a lot of work. The two men had to set up payment methods through sites like PayPal, and they would spend all-night sessions responding to customers to get the bundles off the ground. What really led to their early success, though, was the inclusion of charity in their pay-what-you-want method. By December of 2010, they had orchestrated and implemented the first 2 indie Humble Bundles, the second of which brought in nearly $2 million. Not wasting any time, Jeff and John were able to secure a few $1 million of funding, and by the middle of 2011, they were able to hire a team to help manage their sales and clientele. They were growing at a rapid rate, and it's here that we should stop to appreciate the go-getter attitude and mental fortitude to create such a profitable venture that also contributed to charity. Throughout their history, Rosen and Graham have always placed working with devs to find exciting games as a top priority. They launched Humble Monthlies in 2015, which was a huge step towards getting people to commit to subscription rather than purchasing bundles randomly, depending upon personal interest. If you browse the previous monthlies, you will quickly notice that at least one game included in each bundle is something you've heard of. The approach worked well, and they quickly reached nearly 100,000 subscribers to their monthly service. The monthlies always have at least one solid pitch for each month that makes your purchase worthwhile. That's at the heart of its appeal, and it's something the duo worked hardest on from 2010 to 2017 when IGN bought them out. After the buyout, John Graham made it clear that nothing would change about the platform or their business model. It was all about growing and gaining more funding to make Humble Bundle bigger and better than ever. In 2017, they introduced Humble Trove, a library of games that users have access to at any time. The Trove grows, and the Humble store continues to become more profitable and to cement itself alongside other marketplaces. All was well. Rosen and Graham were still in charge, and the fears that people had about the potential negative impact of IGN's involvement never came to fruition. With more monthly subscribers than ever, Humble had their best year yet in 2018. And, most importantly, customers were really happy with everything the company was doing. Then, things began to change. Jeff Rosen and John Graham stepped down from their roles as CEO and COO of the company. According to Graham, it was always a matter of time before it happened, though he publicly remains optimistic about the future. It's been 10 years, and after doing this for a while, I'm in a place where I think it's time for me to take a break. The business is doing amazingly well. 2018 was our best year, and 2019 is off to our best start ever. We got to go on stage at the epic keynote. We've got tons of momentum. But we found somebody who's better for taking the business to new heights in the future than we are. That someone is Alan Patmore, a video game executive and the former vice president of product development at Double Fine Productions, a controversial studio that I covered in depth a few weeks ago. According to Jeff Rosen, he and John aren't completely gone, and they will continue to give guidance and advice and advisory roles for the rest of this year. One thing that Rosen had to say about the situation that is particularly revealing is that he and John were always startup guys, and that Humble has outgrown their expertise. Humble is bigger now than it's ever been, with an established storefront and a foray into publishing, so it's interesting to hear Rosen say that he doesn't want to stay on board because of their success. Or maybe he's just ready to retire, and he's trying to do a good job of easing Patmore into his new role. I'm not sold on any of it though, because Humble just announced a huge change to their monthly plans that is almost certainly driven by financial aspirations. Patmore and other executives have maintained that the core of Humble will always be focused on indie devs, on what's good for gamers, and on charity. But let's take a deeper look at what's changing for Humble monthly customers. They are rebranding it as Humble Choice, and the sales pitch is that it will give subscribers more power to choose what games they want to pay for. That's true, and the idea of allowing people to pick which games they want is fantastic. The problem arises when you look at how this change impacts potential new customers and customers who have already been subscribed for a while. If you are currently subscribed to Humble, you will automatically be enrolled in their Classic payment plan, which is the best plan available, but only if you stay subscribed. What they are doing is forcing people who are already subscribed to stay subscribed forever. And they're pushing people to sign up for Humble Monthly right now to make sure you get grandfathered into the Classic payment plan when they make the change. If you cancel your Humble subscription, you are going to lose the best deal possible forever. You'll never get it back, and you'll be forced into the premium package where you pay more money for less games than you have been for the past several years. What they're telling us is that it's okay, because nothing will change if you stay subscribed, but that doesn't excuse the fact that they are still charging more money for less value. A quick comparison of the premium and classic packages reveals that this is not a good change. It's only been about 6 months since Rosen and Graham stepped down, and this certainly doesn't follow suit with the nothing will change attitude that they had when they left this past March. Make no mistake about it, this is a big change that is coming very quickly under Patmore's direction. It's only been a few months, and Humble is already trying to squeeze more dollars out of consumers, especially new customers and those who like to choose based on the early release games. If your subscription lapses, you're screwed, and you'll be paying $8 more per month to choose 9 games instead of 10. They're hiding this behind the idea of choice, but current subscribers aren't as ignorant as Humble would prefer. The psychological marketing trick here is called decoy marketing, straight out of Dr. Dan Ariely's book, Predictably Irrational. The idea is that if I offer you a small soda for $1, a large soda for $5, you'll probably choose the small one every time. But if I add a medium soda for $4, you'll start spending more because you're getting a better deal. The decoy has convinced you that the value of the more expensive option is better. You might have seen this optical illusion before. 2 circles surrounded by other circles, some large, some small. You might know already that they're the same size and they just look different based on the circles around them. This is the same psychological effect used by Humble's pricing. By creating an obviously bad version, the Humble Basic at $14.99 a month and only 3 games, they've made the option that costs $20 a month look better, more affordable, and less outrageous. Make no mistake, this is a price hike of 66% for absolutely no additional value at all. And yet, by placing it next to a much worse option, it almost looks reasonable. At face value, it appears that Classic will ease this transition to Humble Choice. In reality, these are not good changes. It makes the service more complicated and puts a stranglehold on current subscribers who could easily be thrown into the $20 a month plan if they don't continue to pay their monthly dues. At the time of this recording, the YouTube video announcing these changes has a like to dislike ratio of 148 to 895. That means that only about 15% of people are happy with the move to Humble Choice. The comments section also provides evidence of customer dissatisfaction. What a new and fantastic way to kill your business. This sounds horrible. I hate this already. It's exactly what I voted against in the customer surveys. Wow, it's almost like the latest monthly was the best yet on purpose just to get everyone on board with this plan. Making your customers feel like hostages is such a great idea. Goodbye, Humble Bundle. It's been a good run. Those are the top 5 most upvoted comments on the video, and there are plenty more that voice similar concerns. What we're left with is a telling example of where Humble is headed since the acquisition by IGN. This is a money move, there's no other way to say it. What's most concerning is that it's happening shortly after the 2 founders of the company stepped down. Is this indicative of the direction that the company is headed under new leadership? Was this part of the reason for the transition? Is it IGN saying to Humble, increase your profitability? Probably. Will they continue to rely on their business model of splitting sales with charity? Probably. Will they continue to let you pay what you want? Maybe. What we can be certain of is that leadership is raising prices and not offering benefits to new customers. They are obfuscating the issue by hiding it with decoy prices, and they have ironically removed customer choice by creating the Choice program. This is the bottom line. Don't forget to pay your monthly $12 subscription to Humble, or you are going to be forced into paying an extra $8 a month for a worse product. It's a price hike hidden behind fake program benefits. Maybe it's just a one-time change that people will get used to. I doubt it, but that's obviously what Humble is hoping. If Pat Moore and company are willing to unfairly charge you more money right now, they'll almost certainly try to find new ways to do that in the future too. I'll make a few predictions right now. The first Humble Choice will be one of the highest value Humble monthlies ever. It will be a real choice on which 10th game to leave behind for those people on Choice, and Basic will seem like an even bigger mistake for anyone who chooses it. But then, over the next couple of months, that 10th game will slowly become a throwaway, a game you don't care about or wouldn't have chosen anyway. In a year, or maybe a year and a half, they'll remove the 10th game option, stating that it didn't seem fair because some indie developers were being left out during bundles and it doesn't reflect the core values. The Classic program will just become the Choice Premium, grandfathered in on an older price scale, and mark my words, Humble will hope hope that you forget to resubscribe. They will gleefully clap their hands like cartoon villains when someone has to drop out of the older program. It's not likely they'll ever remove it entirely, not unless they want to revolt. But this is almost a textbook case on how to slowly move customers into a mandatory price hike. Humble has removed all customer choice with Humble Choice. Well, I hope you enjoyed this look at Humble Bundle's history and how the shift to Humble Choice could spell disaster for everyone involved. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to share it on Reddit and social media. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and, as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.